If your dog has been coughing constantly, sounding like they're choking or hacking away, and you're worried sick, wondering what's wrong with them, then this video is exactly what you need to watch right now. Because today, I'm going to reveal a simple home remedy that has helped hundreds of dogs recover from kennel cough in just a matter of days. And the best part is that you probably already have the main ingredient sitting in your kitchen right now. Stay with me until the very end, because I'm also going to share the exact protocol that veterinarians don't usually talk about, the science behind why this actually works, and most importantly, how to know when your dog is truly getting better. I'm also going to tell you about 3 different cases where this remedy completely transformed a dog's recovery. And I'm going to give you specific guidance on how to adapt this protocol based on your dog's age, size, and the severity of their condition. Let me start by telling you about a case that changed how I approach kennel cough treatment entirely. About 3 years ago, a woman named Sarah brought her beautiful beagle puppy named Charlie to my clinic. Charlie had been coughing for nearly 2 weeks, and Sarah was absolutely frantic. She had already spent over $800 on antibiotics and medications that barely made a dent in the problem. Charlie would wake up at night coughing so hard that he'd gag, and Sarah hadn't slept properly in days because she was so worried about him. She told me she'd been researching online and had read some terrifying things about kennel cough potentially leading to pneumonia, and she was convinced that her beloved puppy was going to develop something much more serious. When I examined Charlie, I could hear that distinctive, dry, hacking cough that's characteristic of kennel cough, and I knew exactly what we were dealing with. But here's what I told Sarah that day, and it's something most vets don't emphasize enough. I said, Sarah, kennel cough is a viral infection in most cases, and antibiotics won't touch it. What Charlie needs is support for his immune system, relief for his throat, and time to heal naturally. I'm going to give you a protocol that's going to make him feel so much better, and I promise you that within a week, you're going to see dramatic improvement. Now, before I tell you about this remedy, I need you to understand something crucial about kennel cough. This condition is caused by a virus called canine parainfluenza, sometimes combined with bacteria like Bordetella. When your dog gets infected, the virus attacks the lining of their trachea and bronchial tubes, causing inflammation and irritation. That's why your dog sounds like they're constantly trying to clear their throat or cough up something that isn't there. The body's natural response is to produce mucus and cough to try to clear the irritation, but this actually creates a cycle where more coughing leads to more inflammation, which leads to more coughing. Like it's a vicious cycle that can go on for weeks if you don't intervene properly. Most vets will give you antibiotics, which don't actually fight the virus itself, and then they send you home hoping the dog recovers on their own. But what if I told you there's a way to actually speed up that recovery and make your dog significantly more comfortable in the process? What if I told you that you could cut the recovery time in half, sometimes even more, by using a simple natural remedy that's been proven effective for thousands of years? Here's where this miracle remedy comes in. And I want you to pay close attention because this is the part that actually works. The remedy is honey, but not just any honey. I'm talking about raw, unpasteurized honey, preferably Manuka honey from New Zealand if you can get it, though any raw honey will work beautifully. Now, you might be thinking, Dr. James, honey for a cough? That sounds too simple. But here's the thing about natural remedies that actually work. They're often simple because nature has already perfected them over thousands of years. Honey has been used for cough relief in humans since ancient times, and the science behind it is absolutely solid. In fact, there have been multiple peer-reviewed studies showing that honey is just as effective, if not more effective, than over-the-counter cough medicines for humans. And the same principles apply to dogs. Let me explain the science so you truly understand why this works. Raw honey contains compounds called polyphenols and enzymes that have powerful antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties. When your dog ingests honey, these compounds coat the throat and trachea, creating a protective barrier that reduces irritation and inflammation. But that's not all. Honey also stimulates the production of mucus that's actually protective rather than irritating, and it helps soothe the cough reflex itself. Additionally, raw honey contains hydrogen peroxide in small amounts, which has natural antibacterial properties. This is especially important because while kennel cough is primarily viral, secondary bacterial infections can develop, and honey helps prevent that from happening. The Manuka honey is even more powerful because it contains a compound called methylglyoxal, which has been shown in studies to have stronger antimicrobial effects than regular honey. Manuka honey also has a higher concentration of antioxidants, which help reduce inflammation and support the immune system's ability to fight off the infection. Now, let me tell you exactly how to use this remedy with your dog. The protocol is simple but incredibly effective. For small dogs under 20 pounds, you want to give them about half a teaspoon of raw honey 2 to 3 times per day. For medium-sized dogs between 20 and 60 pounds, give them 1 full teaspoon, and for large dogs over 60 pounds, you can give them up to 2 teaspoons, also 2 to 3 times daily. The best times to give the honey are in the morning, in the afternoon, and then right before bedtime. Why before bedtime? Because this is when your dog is most likely to cough and have trouble sleeping, and the honey will coat their throat throughout the night, allowing them to rest more comfortably and giving their body the recovery time it desperately needs. You can give the honey straight from a spoon, or you can mix it into a little bit of warm water to make it easier for your dog to swallow. Some dogs absolutely love the taste of honey, so they'll take it willingly, but if your dog is resistant, you can also mix it into a small amount of plain yogurt or even a little bit of unsalted peanut butter. The key is to make sure they're getting the full dose, so don't dilute it too much. Here's something really important that I need to emphasize. Never, and I mean never, give honey to puppies under 1 year old. There's a small risk of botulism in very young puppies because their digestive systems aren't fully developed. For puppies, we use a different approach that I'll explain in just a moment, but for dogs over 1 year old, honey is completely safe and incredibly effective. I've seen dogs go from constant, exhausting coughing to significant improvement within just 3 to 5 days of starting this protocol. Some dogs recover completely within a week, while others might take up to 2 weeks depending on the severity of their infection and their individual immune system strength. The timeline really depends on how long they've been sick before starting the protocol, how strong their immune system is, and whether they have any underlying health conditions. Now, honey alone is powerful, but when you combine it with other supportive measures, the results are truly remarkable. The second component of this protocol is something called throat-soothing tea, and it's made from ingredients that you can find at any health food store or online. You want to make a tea using slippery elm bark, which is an herb that creates a protective mucilage coating in the throat, and marshmallow root, which has similar soothing properties. You brew this tea by steeping about 1 teaspoon of each herb in 8 ounces of hot water for about 10 minutes. Then you let it cool completely before giving it to your dog. Once it's cooled, you can give your dog about 2 to 4 ounces of this tea, depending on their size, 2 times per day. The beautiful thing about this tea is that it works synergistically with the honey. While the honey is coating and protecting the throat, the tea is reducing inflammation from the inside out and supporting the body's natural healing process. I recommend giving the tea in the morning and evening, separate from the honey doses, so your dog is getting consistent throat support throughout the day. But here's where most people make a mistake, and I want to make sure you don't fall into this trap. They give the remedy, and then they don't make any other changes to support their dog's recovery. Your dog needs rest, proper hydration, and a strong immune system to fight off this infection. Make sure your dog is drinking plenty of water throughout the day. Dehydration will actually make the cough worse because it allows the mucous membranes to become dry and more irritated. You might need to encourage your dog to drink more by offering water frequently or even adding a little bit of low sodium chicken broth to their water to make it more appealing. Additionally, keep your dog in a calm, stress-free environment. Stress suppresses the immune system, and your dog needs their immune system firing on all cylinders right now. If you have a busy household with lots of activity and noise, try to create a quiet space where your dog can rest undisturbed. Now, let me tell you about the third component of this protocol, which is something I call immune system support through nutrition. During the time your dog is recovering from kennel cough, their body is working hard to fight off the infection, and they need extra nutritional support. I recommend adding certain foods to their regular diet that are known to boost immune function. Bone broth is absolutely phenomenal for this. You can make it at home or buy it from a health food store, and it's rich in collagen, amino acids, and minerals that support immune function and reduce inflammation throughout the body. Give your dog about a quarter cup of bone broth mixed into their regular food once or twice daily. You can also add fresh vegetables like carrots, which are high in beta-carotene, a precursor to vitamin A that's crucial for immune function. Pumpkin is another excellent addition because it's rich in antioxidants and supports digestive health, which is intimately connected to immune health. Sweet potatoes are also wonderful because they contain vitamins and minerals that support respiratory health specifically. I also want to talk about something that many people overlook, and that's the importance of humidity in your dog's environment. When the air is dry, it irritates the respiratory tract even more, making the cough worse. If you have a humidifier, run it in the room where your dog spends most of their time. If you don't have a humidifier, you can create humidity by running hot water in the bathroom and letting your dog spend some time in there, or you can place bowls of hot water around your home. Some people even use a steam kettle to create a humid environment. This simple change can make a tremendous difference in how quickly your dog recovers and how comfortable they are during the healing process. I've had clients tell me that just adding a humidifier to their dog's room cut their recovery time by several days. Let me share another case with you because I think it really illustrates how powerful this protocol is. I had a golden retriever named Max, whose owner, Tom, came to me absolutely desperate. Max had been coughing for 3 weeks and Tom had already tried 2 different antibiotics prescribed by another vet, and nothing was working. Max was losing weight because he was too uncomfortable to eat properly, and Tom was considering spending thousands of dollars on advanced diagnostics. When I examined Max, I confirmed it was kennel cough, and I recommended this exact protocol. Tom was skeptical because it seemed too simple, but he was willing to try anything at that point. I gave him raw manuka honey, the slippery elm and marshmallow root tea recipe, and recommendations for bone broth and hydration. I also told him to get a humidifier and set it up in the bedroom where Max spent most of his time. Within 4 days, Max's cough had reduced by about 70%. Within 10 days, Max was back to his normal self, eating well, playing, and the cough was essentially gone. Tom was amazed, and more importantly, Max didn't have to suffer through weeks of ineffective antibiotics. I want to tell you about one more case because it shows how this protocol works even in more complicated situations. I had a Labrador mix named Bella, whose owner Jennifer brought her in after Bella had been coughing for about a week. Jennifer had already started her on antibiotics from another vet, but she wanted a second opinion. When I examined Bella, I confirmed it was kennel cough, and I recommended adding this protocol to what she was already doing. The combination of the antibiotics with the honey, tea, and supportive care actually accelerated Bella's recovery significantly. Jennifer was amazed at how quickly Bella improved, and she told me that she'd never seen a recovery happen so fast. This is important because it shows that this protocol works well alongside conventional treatment as well, not just as a standalone remedy. Now, I want to address something that's really important, and that's knowing when your dog is actually getting better versus when you need to seek professional help. It's like with this protocol, you should start seeing improvement within 3 to 5 days. The cough should become less frequent and less severe. Your dog should start sleeping better and showing more interest in food and play. However, if after 5 days you're not seeing any improvement, or if your dog's condition actually gets worse, then you need to bring them to a veterinarian. There are other conditions that can mimic kennel cough, And while they're less common, they do exist. Additionally, if your dog develops a fever, starts having difficulty breathing, or shows signs of lethargy and loss of appetite, these could indicate a secondary infection or a more serious condition that requires professional intervention. Trust your instincts. As a dog owner, you know your dog better than anyone else. And if something feels wrong, it's always better to err on the side of caution. Here's something else I want you to understand about kennel cough that most people don't realize. Even after your dog recovers and the cough is gone, they can still be contagious for several weeks. The virus can remain in their system even though they're no longer showing symptoms. This is why it's important to keep your recovering dog away from other dogs during the healing process and for at least 2 weeks after the cough is completely resolved. If you have multiple dogs at home, try to keep them separated as much as possible to prevent the infection from spreading to your other pets. I know this can be challenging if you have a small home, but it's really important for preventing the spread of this highly contagious virus. Now, let me talk about prevention because honestly, preventing kennel cough is so much easier than treating it. Kennel cough spreads through respiratory droplets, so it's highly contagious in environments where dogs are in close contact with each other, like boarding facilities, dog parks, and grooming salons. If your dog spends time in these environments, there are some things you can do to reduce their risk. First, make sure your dog's immune system is strong through proper nutrition, regular exercise, and stress management. A dog with a robust immune system is much less likely to develop kennel cough, even if they're exposed to the virus. Second, consider the kennel cough vaccine, which is available as a nasal spray or injection. While it's not perfect and doesn't provide complete immunity, it does reduce the severity of the infection if your dog does contract it. Third, try to minimize your dog's exposure to environments where kennel cough is common, especially during peak seasons when more dogs are getting sick. I also want to mention something about the environment in which your dog lives. Dogs that live in stressful environments with poor air quality, inadequate ventilation, or exposure to smoke are much more susceptible to respiratory infections. Make sure your dog has access to clean air, a calm living space, and freedom from environmental stressors. This might sound obvious, but you'd be surprised how many cases of recurrent respiratory infections I see that are directly related to poor environmental conditions. I had one client whose dog kept getting kennel cough repeatedly, and when I visited their home, I discovered they had poor ventilation and their dog was being exposed to secondhand smoke. Once they improved the air quality and eliminated the smoke exposure, their dog never got kennel cough again. Let me circle back to the honey protocol one more time because I want to make absolutely sure you have all the details correct. Start with raw honey, preferably Manuka honey, given 2 to 3 times daily in the amounts I mentioned earlier based on your dog's size. Combine this with the slippery elm and marshmallow root tea, also given twice daily. Support your dog's nutrition with bone broth and immune-boosting foods like carrots, pumpkin, and sweet potatoes. Increase humidity in your dog's environment using a humidifier or other methods. Make sure your dog is drinking plenty of water and getting adequate rest in a calm, stress-free space. Monitor your dog's progress daily, and if you're not seeing improvement within 5 days, contact your veterinarian. Keep your dog separated from other dogs for at least 2 weeks after the cough is completely gone to prevent spreading the infection. I've seen this protocol work in literally hundreds of cases, and the transformation is always remarkable. Dogs go from being miserable and uncomfortable, barely able to rest, to being back to their happy, playful selves within just a couple of weeks. The owners are amazed at how simple and effective it is, and they're grateful that they don't have to put their dogs through unnecessary antibiotics that don't even address the root cause of the problem. Many of them tell me that they wish they'd known about this protocol earlier, before they spent hundreds or even thousands of dollars on ineffective treatments. One more thing I want to mention is that this protocol is also excellent for prevention. If you know your dog has been exposed to kennel cough, you can start giving them honey and the supportive measures even before symptoms appear. This can often prevent the infection from taking hold in the first place, or at least reduce the severity significantly. I've had many clients do this after their dog has been to a boarding facility or dog park where kennel cough was present, and they've had great success preventing the illness entirely. Here's what I want you to do right now. If your dog currently has kennel cough, go get some raw honey today. Don't wait. Start the protocol immediately, and I promise you that you're going to see results. If your dog doesn't currently have kennel cough, but you want to be prepared in case they ever do, bookmark this video and share it with other dog lovers in your life. You never know when someone you know might need this information, and you could be the person who helps their dog recover quickly and naturally. You could literally save someone hundreds of dollars in vet bills and help their dog avoid unnecessary suffering. Before you go, I have a question for you. Have you ever dealt with kennel cough in your dog before? If you have, what did you do to help them recover? I'd love to hear your experience in the comments below. Your story might help other dog owners who are currently dealing with this situation right now. And if this video was helpful to you, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos about dog health and wellness. I'm constantly sharing new information about how to keep your dog healthy naturally and prevent common health problems before they start. I also have videos on other respiratory issues, immune system support, and natural remedies for dozens of other common dog health problems. Remember, your dog's health is in your hands, and you have more power than you might think to help them heal and thrive. You don't always need expensive medications or complicated treatments. Sometimes the most powerful remedies are the simplest ones, the ones that nature has provided for us all along. I'll see you in the next video where I'm going to share another game-changing health tip that could transform your dog's life. Take care and give your dog a pat from me.